Hey Espresso lovers, Mark here from Whole Latte Love. Today we're going to talk about getting the perfect puck of coffee for your espresso. So we're going to be taking a look at, we'll talk real quick about portafilters, how they might be a little bit different, different tamping options, including levelers. We're going to talk a little bit about filter baskets, and then also distribution tools, and some really high-end tools over here in these Bravo products. First off, maybe you noticed my really cool Joe Bean t-shirt here. Wearing this, we do have these on the site right now. It's a honeybee on there, very important in coffee production on the coffee farms. They got to pollinate the coffee. So Joe Bean is a local roaster here that we work with. We do carry their coffees. This is a higher altitude from Nicaragua. This is Don Francisco and Blanca Nieves. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I'm drinking it as an Americano in this really nice Camelback double insulated mug. Love this too. We do have the Camelback stuff here. Got a nice rubber base, keeps your drinks hot for about 4 hours in here. It's got the lid, really nice, really nice. Totally dishwasher safe. I love these. So let's take a look at what we're gonna do here. So you get an espresso machine, and unless you go high end, you're probably gonna end up getting one of these plastic tampers here. These come with just about every machine, unless you're way up into those really expensive dual boilers. This is what you're going to get with it. Now, I'm going to suggest you throw this away and get yourself a real tamper. They don't fit, they don't tamp very well. They have this round surface, which may or may not be okay. If you're doing pressurized filter basket brewing, you just want to level out the coffee in there before you put it in. This could be okay, but if you're doing standard brewing in a non-pressurized basket and want a good espresso, do yourself a favor, get rid of this. So the first up possibilities for tamping are just like a regular tamper like this. Now they're rated by size. These portafilters here and these filter baskets we're taking a look at are 58 millimeter. They come in other sizes. You'll see 54s, 53s, there's even some 51s, but those are usually only on pressurized machines, which you don't really need to tamp. This is a 58, it's pretty standard rattleware, doesn't cost a lot. And we'll talk more about the actual sizes of this, but like this rattleware tamper, it's actually 58 millimeters. And that's gonna be fine for most cases. When you get into precision filter baskets, they're going to be probably about 58.6, so the fit isn't going to be fantastic. Let me demonstrate. I have a Baristapro precision basket over here. So when you put this in here, there's a lot of wiggle room in this. And as you see, as we get into some of the more precision levelers, distributors, and tampers, it's going to be a much better fit. You're going to get a better puck of coffee. So after that, there used to always be this thing about tamping to 30 pounds of pressure. So I have an Espresso calibrated tamper. I used these years ago, still do every once in a while. When you push on this, it gives when it gets to 30 pounds of pressure when you bottom out there. Got the same sort of a setup here. This is an ECM tamper, another 58. It's calibrated as well, so you push, and when you hit bottom there, you put about 30 pounds of pressure on the coffee. Now, I'm not too uptight about the tamping pressure that I use. What I do want to do is be consistent. I tend to go with a slightly finer grind and not such a hard tamp. But however you do it, it's up to you. With these, you're going to get the same pressure every time. Now, let me just grind a little bit. What I've got is a couple different portafilters over here. Oh, let's talk about those real quick. So what I have are some angled portafilters. So that's like this. So what you notice here is that the top of the basket here sits pretty much parallel to the surface of the counter. Then I've got a regular straight portafilter here. And what you notice here is there's a bit of a lean. Now, what you want when you're tamping, aside from using the same pressure or compression of the coffee every time, is a very even tamp. So you don't want, you want it to be parallel to the rim or parallel to your counter when you tamp that coffee down. If you end up with those spots that are a little thinner or a little thicker, the brew water is going to go through those areas. If it's thinner, it's going to go through faster and easier and over extract. If it's thicker, it's not going to go through at all, maybe if there's another, really thin area. So it just helps you to get an even extraction. So here's what happens. You take, this angled portafilter like this, you put it in, and you're already pretty much parallel. If you go over here and you don't, pick this up, you just leave it on the counter, you're at an angle here. Now it's really easy to deal with by, picking this up like this to get it straight. And there are, other tools you can use. Tamping stations to get that level for you. But just something to be aware of. I also like these angled ones, which you're going to find on higher end machines generally. They're just easier to get up into the group and turn in. Just something to be aware of if you're going to be picking up a machine. What kind of a portafilter does it have? So let's grind a little coffee. I'm going to use this one. I'm using 20 gram baskets in here. I've got a Chiato E5P. This is a manual on-demand grinder, so there's no timing on this. I am just gonna fill up this 20-gram basket just a little over the top, and then I'm just gonna level it off. And you know, a lot of times I'll be using scales for coffee, but this is, if you don't wanna go there, you don't have to. You can get pretty much the same dose of coffee every time by just slightly overfilling. Let me get this knockbox over here, and then just swiping it level. And I did pretty good. I'm not wasting, not sacrificing too much coffee here. And then when you go to tamp, the idea is to just get it perfectly straight, right? So in the same pressure, so you don't want to dip the edge or anything. So you just want to push down evenly. Like I'm using a tamper like this. I like one that I can get my fingers on right here so I can help keep it straight. Push down. If you want, you know, another technique is to give it a little bit of a polish. And I'm not doing a great job here. So you just spin it, and that just polishes the surface. Now, I want you to take a look here. So when you do this, you end up with a little bit of, you know, I've got a little dust in there, not a big deal. As you can see, I don't know, it's kind of hard to see, but up around here, I have some coffee up around the edges. When you see when we use some of the other tools here, we're not gonna get that. It's gonna be perfectly flat, perfectly level, and because we're using more precise tools, you won't have this extra stuff happening here. So I'll just set this over here. So those are tampers. Again, these are gonna be pretty much exactly 58 millimeters. Now when I get into a tool like this is one I've been using forever. It comes in all kinds of different colors, designs. It's the Jack Leveler. So what this does, you just spin it on, and I'll show you how you do it. And it doesn't matter if I'm not using a straight one, because the way it rests in there, it's always gonna be parallel. And you just spin. Now what I like about this is it has adjustable depth. And with this, now I'm going to show you what I do with this, and when I use one of these, I don't tamp. So in this basket, I've kind of set this up earlier, I go all the way down like that. This is a precision tool, so if I go into, and I do have the Baristapro precision baskets in here, when I go into here, it's a really, let me show you here, it's a really good fit. There's not a lot of slop, and we'll see how that works out. This same basket I have over here. So again, a 20-gram basket, so I'm going to show you how I use this. It's a Chiato E5P grinder. I really like this grinder. It's 63 millimeter flat burrs. Very solid machine grade build. Stepless grind adjustment up here. So again, I'm not weighing here. I'm just gonna overfill a bit. And we'll take this and swipe off any excess. Trying to do that without compressing it. And that way, you know, you're probably always gonna get within a half a gram of the dose. You wanna be consistent as possible. And that's what a leveler is gonna, like this is going to help you do. So I've got it all the way down. Now this one I'm going to spin clockwise. So I've just set it on and spin. And I'm not forcing it into the coffee at all. And I'm just spinning till it spins good. And because it has that rim, it's always going to do that nice flat parallel tamp. You're not going to end up with a part of the puck that's thinner or not. I'm going to pull this out real gently, and I'll take a look at that. Now you saw with this tamper over here, which is 58, this is 58.4. The basket itself is about 58.6 millimeters, but I don't have any of that dust around anymore. No coffee around the edges, and it's always going to be perfectly flat. That's going to give you perfect consistency all the time. Now, like I said, if you wanted to, you could go tamp after using this. I find that I don't have to. I'm going to show you how I'm doing this live, so we'll see what happens here. I'm going to knock out the puck in one piece, and there you go. So that puck is well compressed. You can see that puck is in, well, it just fell apart there. But it was in one piece coming out. That's how I like to tamp. So that's the Jack Leveler. Again, 58 millimeters here exactly, 58.4 on this, and those baskets are 58.6, so 0.2 of a millimeter difference. Let's talk real quick about these baskets. I have the Baristapro baskets here. These come in the double shot size. They come at 15, 18, 20, and 22 gram dose sizes. This happens to be the, let's see, and these are labeled. Most baskets, when you get a stock basket, we'll talk about that in a minute, they don't tell you anything about what they are. What this has is some markings on the side. It's gonna be probably really hard to see, but it says D for double, 24, that's the height in millimeters here, and then 661, that's the number of holes, and then it says NT, and that's for a nanotech treatment. It's not nanoparticles. If you can see this here, it's got a little rainbow shine to it. That's a quartz coating. Kind of think of it as like a, you know, a non-stick pan. And what this does, it helps keep the basket a lot cleaner, much easier to clean. The coffee oils don't stick to it. And also you notice on here there's no internal ridges. These are precision baskets again. Like I said, it's 58.6. So when I go and put a very precise instrument like this, not a lot of slop, where if you go to the 58 and use it in here, you get some slop. Now, the problem you get into is if you're using stock baskets, these are gonna work fine in almost all stock baskets that are 58. Like it's fine in this one. And actually this stock basket, you can see it's got that ridge in there that I mentioned. Now here's one that a Rancilio basket. This is Rancilio calls this a 58. If I try and use this in here, it won't go in. So this Rancilio basket is probably a real 58. That's very out of the ordinary, honestly. But if you're going to use a precision tool, it's going to pay off to get a precision basket to go with it, like these Baristapro. So those are levelers. I like that. Again, you can tamp if you want to. You don't have to. I find I don't, but it's perfectly fine if you want to. Let's get a little hit of my Americano here. I do like that coffee a lot. So next up, we're going to take a look at the Bravo Distributor and Tamper. Now this is a high-end tool. They're not cheap, but if you want to know you're getting it absolutely perfect every single time, you might want to take a look at something like this. So this is a two-part system. It's a distributor right here. And with this, you don't push down into the coffee at all. If you can see this, I'm just going to let it drop. It drops in. It's got all by itself. So it just drops down into the coffee. And I'll show you how to use this in a minute. It's going to be, we're going to spin it, what is it? Counterclockwise. No, clockwise first, then counterclockwise, just 2 or 3 spins. Then right after that, we're going to take this Bravo tamper here, which is adjustable. This comes set at about 34 pounds of force, but I'll show you how to adjust that so you can go from 37 and down to 26 pounds of force when you're tamping. Again, it's got those edges so that when you're tamp, it's always going to be perfectly flat and level. So let me grind up a little coffee and show you how to use those. I'll use this one here. And again, I'm just going to fill this a lot of times. I'll be weighing my coffee doses, but again, if you don't have to go there, you can just fill a basket just over a little bit, like this 20-gram basket I'm doing here. Swipe off a little excess, sacrifice a little coffee to the gods, which we sometimes do. Let me make a little room here. So there's that. So with the distributor, first I'm going to spin it clockwise and then counterclockwise. So I'm just going to set it on top. I'm not forcing it down in. It's dropping in itself. So I'll just give it about 3 full spins clockwise, then counterclockwise. What this does is just distributes that coffee perfectly. So I'm going to pull this off gently because this is going to fit. This is 58.4 millimeter diameter as well, just like the jack here. So very precise tool. Pull that off gently. Then I've got the tamper here. So it's got actually 2 springs in here. So when I go to push, whoops, I better hold that. When I go to push down, it's going to start. And then when I bottom out, I've got my, this is set at 34 pounds. So again, I'm going to get perfectly flat and level every time. Now on here, now if you're using this distributor commercially, what you can do is you can have this drop down faster if you're using it. There's 3 Allen head screws up here. As you take one out, it'll drop faster. You can take up all 3 out and it'll drop really fast. Then over here on the tamper, you can adjust the pressure that you're using. So how do you do that? You just take this cap off of here. It's really, really easy. And then underneath the cap is a 2.5 millimeter Allen head screw. When it's all the way in, that's the way it's going to come, and it's going to give you, whoops, try not to drop that, 34 pounds of force. If you take this all the way out, so just take that Allen head all the way out, that'll get you 37. If you go all the way back in, every 1 millimeter that you turn this out is going to get you 2.5 pounds less force. Again, I'm not real big on exactly what the pressure is. Some people are. That's fine. I'm just going to leave this one set right where it is, but it's very easy to do. And again, this is a 58.4 millimeter real diameter, but it's going to fit in just about every 58 millimeter basket. But I do suggest going with a precision basket because you can run into the things like I did with, there's that Rancilio basket where it's not going to fit, or it's incredibly tight in there in this Rancilio basket. This comes in the 58 millimeter size, and also like if you got maybe a Dalla Corte machine, they are available in 54, true size 54.7. Then Then we have different varieties available from time to time. These are made in Brazil. This is a light wood, and it's got a very glossy black finish on it. Then we have the dark wood that has more of a matte black. This is a fully matte black unit. Again, these are very precise tools, but if you want to be perfect every time, this is the way to go. I know AJ, who's behind the camera over here, he really loves the Bravo. I started using the Jacks over here, about a year and a half or so ago, and I really like these. One thing about using precise tools like these is you want to keep them clean. Because that fit is so tight, if you end up with coffee, and I don't know AJ if you got that, but if you end up with coffee right here, they can bind up and then the adjustment will change. So what I do, one of my things I always do when using this is just take my fingers. I love touching coffee, don't mind it at all. And just make sure that that's really clean so I don't get any binding, because it is such a nice fit into the filter basket. So that's kind of a look at tampers, distributors, levelers. Of course, really cool Joe Bean. Kind of like a concert tee to me from when I was growing up. I do like this, and we do have these. We do have the Camelback stuff. I really like this a lot. If you have any questions about tampers, the Jack leveler, Bravo distributor, and tampers, do use the comments. I'd be more than happy to get you a detailed answer. And that's it. We're going to wrap it up. Guys, thanks for watching. I do hope you'll come back soon for more of the best on everything coffee, brought to you by Whole Latte Love.